last night rather, Eastern Illinois with a big upset over Iowa, the biggest upset in the modern era. Michigan State taking care of business over Oakland, 67-54. UNC, Michigan, a 4-point loss. The Wolverines suffer to the Tar Heels. Ohio State taking care of business against Maine, 95-61. And the Boilers remain undefeated. Zach Edey, by the way, 74-53 win over New Orleans. Let's start first with this Michigan-UNC game. This game was technically a neutral site game in Charlotte, but it's really a home game for the Tar Heels. Interesting because Michigan center Hunter Dickinson finished with 9 points. He was 3 for 9 from the field, averages 18 a game, but was pretty ineffective in this one. What was Carolina doing defensively to make him so ineffective?
Well, I hate to pin a lot on him, but it was one of the reasons that they did lose, that he was not able to be as effective against Armando Bacot, who certainly against Ohio State, fellow Big Ten team, has sort of gone through his own sort of reset, if you will, because Bacot is playing really well for Carolina. He had 26 last night. I thought the Michigan guards sort of matched the more experienced guards of Caleb Love and R.J. Davis of Carolina, so McDaniel and Bufkin, and Jet Howard played really well. So all their perimeter played well. Hunter did not play a Hunter Dickinson type game. That hurt them. They did outscore them in the second half, 42-39. This all happened with Carolina missing 12 free throws. So you think about so many opportunities for Michigan to get this W, not able to do so. And where I think there's major concern, I still think they're going to be an NCAA tournament team because there's so many opportunities within the Big Ten. We saw this last year with Rutgers, where it was down to the last couple of weeks, and yet they won, I think, 4 of their last 6 to get in. What's concerning for Michigan is they had 4 games, quad one, if you will, those up games or peer games for a team like Michigan, and they lost them all. Arizona State on neutral court
which looks
in New York.
Really bad after last night's loss.
Yeah, I mean,
sustained.
So Arizona State lost. Carolina lost technical neutral court. Home Virginia loss. And then Kentucky neutral court loss in London. So they had 4 opportunities to get sort of high-profile quad one type wins, and they whiffed on all 4. So that puts even more pressure on in the Big Ten. Again, I think they will be fine. They'll get their act together. They'll get enough wins in the Big Ten, but it does put a little bit more pressure on the conference.
Interesting, those 3 of those losses, Kentucky was by 4, UVA was by 2, the other loss last night to Carolina by 4. How much comfort does it give you, though, that the fact that they're in these games, it's not like they're getting blown out. They're competing down to the final few possessions.
No, and I'm glad you pointed that out, because a year ago, that was a huge problem for them in the non-conference. They got absolutely blown out in a couple of those games. Arizona, if you remember, which was another, I think, neutral court game a year ago. Their defense really was suspect a year ago, especially in the second half. That's not the case this year. And I think losing these close games has something to do with their inexperience down the stretch, the fact that they've had injuries, Jalen Llewellyn done for the season, and their schedule has been a little erratic, obviously, where you've got that Virginia game at home, then they go to London. Then they were actually very fortunate, I thought, that their Big Ten game on the bounce back was at Minnesota. Mm-hmm. Really the only Big Ten team, you could argue, that has really struggled in the non-conference. And that was the one game that they got post-London. I really believe if they'd been anywhere else from London back on the road in the Big Ten, they probably would have lost that game. It was like the perfect place for them to go at that time to be going to Minnesota. And they played really well in that game.
Juwan Howard put together a tough non-conference schedule for this team. What's interesting about Hunter Dickinson is that he's going to be the star of any scouting report against opponents. North Carolina started to double him a little bit, but he's such a good passer out of the post that he was starting to hit teammates for 3. Michigan shot 39% from beyond the arc. But what other adjustments do the Wolverines need to make? Because this is going to happen all year. Teams are going to be trying to make Dickinson ineffective.
Well, I mean, offensively, he can shoot the 3.
Sure.
And I think when they play Purdue, for example, you want to drag Zach Edey out. I was talking yesterday afternoon with Chris Holtman about this, about how teams are going to have to defend Zach Edey when they come across him in the Big Ten. And when there are bigs like Hunter Dickinson that can shoot from the perimeter, that's going to be a huge asset to pull Zach Edey out, force him to defend so far away from the basket, and he can't be a true rebounder in that case. Armando Bacot is not as good away from the basket. So that could have been a way to draw him out defensively. On the other end, obviously, he was very effective inside, and that hurt Michigan.
Sure. Well, Michigan takes on Central Michigan on the 29th coming up. Next up, Ohio State taking on Maine. You did that game last night. Boots on the ground in Columbus. 5 different players for Ohio State scored in double figures, including freshman forward Bryce Sensabaugh. He had 19 points. Why has he been able to adjust to this style of play so quickly?
Okay, first of all, I got a little bit of a crush on Ohio State right now.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
Do tell.
I'm just telling you, I really like this team. And I saw them back-to-back games in New York against Carolina in overtime, a game obviously right there to win before Pete Nance hits the game-tying shot at the end of regulation. Bryce Sensabaugh and Bruce Thornton, and you could go Roddy Gale and Felix Akbara, all 4 of those freshmen. And Holtman's really big on not excluding the other 2, the latter 2 I just said. The whole freshman unit, I think they've got an unbelievable ceiling. Will Sensabaugh be like Malachi Branham last season, who blossomed into a one-and-done? Maybe. But last night, he hit a couple of corner threes, drove to the basket well, was very effective. Not as good a defender. I was talking to the main coaching staff in the airport this morning, and they said that could be a problem for him in the Big Ten about his defense. But offensively, he's incredibly effective. And they're not whole right now. Eugene Brown, still out with a concussion. They hope he'll come back maybe next week for Alabama A&M, if not for Northwestern Purdue. Isaac Likely missed his 3rd straight game, transferred from Oklahoma State, dealing with some family issues. So when this team gets together, I think there's no question, and we'll talk about this, that, they're in the mix to finish much higher up. So I was really impressed with their effort, especially after a disappointing loss in the way they lost to Carolina. In
overtime to Carolina, by the way. They had it at the end. Pete Nance for Carolina, a former Big Ten player, hits that shot to send it into overtime. I was impressed with the turnover improvement from that North Carolina game to the Maine game. 16 turnovers for the Buckeyes against the Tar Heels. Only 7 last night for Ohio State. What was impressive to you about how disciplined they were against a Maine team that isn't necessarily a team that's easy to get up for?
Yeah, look, first of all, I got to give Chris Holtmann a lot of credit. We were joking a little that he was so serious after the Carolina game. I was in the back hallway with him at Madison Square Garden. I said, well, I'm doing your Maine game. And he's, Maine. They beat BC. He was very locked in.
BC beat Virginia Tech last night.
Yes. So, no, he had every reason to believe that could have been a more difficult game. And even last night, in our post-game interview, when I was talking about Purdue and Northwestern, he's like, what are you doing to me? I got Alabama A&M next week. So, very coach speak. You're a daughter of a coach. You know this. So listen, he had them ready. And I do think, and I know we're going to talk about it here in a second, I do think the fact that earlier in the day, Eastern Illinois, Iowa, I don't want to mess up our rundown here, but
You're just telling all our secrets.
I know, but I'm just saying, the fact that happened prior to that game, I think helped him get his players locked in. Because one of the quick things I just say that I didn't realize until we were talking to Zed Key about this. As you know, as a former athlete, when it gets to this time of the year, all the players are thinking about, it's been a long slog from July, August. They haven't been home.
Get me home.
Get you home.
3 glorious days.
Well, what I didn't realize about Ohio State is 2 years ago, no one went home because of COVID. Everyone was in their own little bubbles. Last year, Ohio State got COVID, so none of them went home. So this is for the veteran guys, not the freshmen, the veteran guys, they haven't gone home for Christmas for 3 years. So there was a lot of anticipation for today, more than last night. So they did a great job of staying in the moment before leaving today.
A lot of these Christmas time games end up being trap games. Ohio State opens up Big Ten play against Northwestern. Purdue, the #1 team in the country, remain undefeated, play against New Orleans without Zach Edey, yet there was really no drop-off whatsoever. How about Trey Kaufman-Renn? Played 25 minutes last night. He only averages 15 minutes a game, but he had 24 points, drew 8 fouls, went 8 for 10 from the line. What impressed you about his performance specifically?
That he stepped up. And we should tell everyone Zach Edey just had some sort of flu-like symptoms, non-COVID, not expected to be an issue, obviously, after the break. So this was a great game, I thought, for Trey Kaufman-Renn to step into a role, because we don't know. Could there be a time where Zach Edey has to miss another game? Does he get in foul trouble? And they win by 21, and Kaufman-Renn plays so well. They go to the line, by the way, Purdue, 19-24, so they still were physical. So I think this was a huge plus for Purdue to survive without Zach Edey. A game they should have won, they did win, and they win by 21.
What did you learn most about this team regarding them being able to still dominate without their, honestly, All-American, potentially Player of the Year?
just the resiliency of dealing with a quick minor adversity. Also, it's kind of cool for them because people forget a year ago when they were number one for the first time, they then went to Rutgers and lost. This was the first time they were playing a home game as number one.
This is going to be fun because a little teaser ahead. I want to know who you think is going to be the biggest challenger to the Boilers right now, because they are making quite the case right now. With the season they've had, who can beat them? It's going to be fun to talk about.
Well, I don't think they'll run the table because it's so difficult in the Big Ten, but I'm buying more and more, especially with what's gone on with Indiana, that they're going to win this by a couple of games. I mean, we can talk about 2 on down, but I really do believe right now that Purdue has the makeup to win this by a few games, which I never would have thought, obviously in the preseason, that they could do that. You know, even if they won it, is it a split? We've seen a lot of splits in the last couple of years. You know, 4 or 5 losses, team wins it, multiple teams, but I think they're going to win it by a game or 2.
And every other team in the Big Ten, by the way, has at least 2 losses at the moment. Purdue 12-0 for the first time since the 2009-2010 season. Let's move on to Michigan State. Tom Izzo with a fantastic Grinch sweater
Angry
on the
elf.
sidelines.
Angry elf.
You know, I love when coaches, have a little fun with this,
yes.
right? This is basketball. It's not brain surgery. And Tom Izzo is certainly one of those coaches that gets it. And Sparty picks up a big W over Oakland. It's 3rd straight win. I mean, look at this. Oh, it was an elf. I thought it was the Grinch.
No. He was
it's elf.
Yes, the elf. He was the angry elf.
Oh, that's a great sweater.
Okay. And then he's trying to be nice here. Then he gets angry. And then he, has to be held back from his son, Steven Izzo, at one point. I mean, I love this. There's going to be so many memes off of this. Greg Campy, the Oakland coach, they're very good friends. He had some sort of festive sweater as well. But and people know whenever they've done like their Midnight Madness kind of stuff, Tom Izzo's been great about being a character of various kind of characters. So he's always sort of played along. But that was funny because he can't control his emotions despite what he's wearing.
Look, I love the elf sweater. I think it's great that we're
Yes.
kind of playing into this theme. Michigan State only led by 5 at the half. They were able to pull away in the second. All 5 starters scored 8 points or more, but only 6 bench points. How concerning is it to you that Michigan State doesn't necessarily have a ton of depth to go to on the bench right now?
I think it's okay. I mean, because first of all, they got to get Malik Hall back. Not back yet. When he gets back, I still think their core is good enough to challenge potentially for a top 2 finish in the Big Ten. In this game, I mean, their big players played well for the most part. Jaden Akins, 15. Tyson Walker, 13. Joey Hauser at 16. A.J. Hogarth didn't score as well, but he had 8 assists and only 1 turnover. So I think statistically, despite the angry elf there, it was a quality win for Michigan State against a team that they traditionally play in Oakland, and usually it's a competitive game.
Spartans on a 3-game win streak now. Iowa, Eastern Illinois.
Yeah, we teased it earlier. It happened.
The Hawkeyes were the 31.5-point favorite headed into this game. Eastern Illinois shot 72% from the field in the second half to go on with the upset. It became the biggest upset in the modern era. What happened?
Well, okay, so first of all, Chris Murray didn't play.
Yep.
Connor McCaffrey didn't play. Still not an excuse. This was exactly what you said. This was the ultimate trap game, and Iowa literally fell into it. There's no other way to explain it. I mean, they missed 12 free throws, and they lost by 9. I was not a math major, okay?
Thanks for
I ran
clarifying.
away from math.
Fair.
But the math adds up. You miss 12 free throws in a game that's tight, that you shouldn't lose, and you lose by 9. That's one area where clearly they could have done a little bit of a better job. But obviously, defensively, complete letdowns. The McCaffrey house over the holidays might be a little tense.
Yikes. Iowa opens Big Ten play at Nebraska on the 29th.
I got to ask you, though, seriously, games before the holidays, were you nervous about that?
No, I mean, as
the daughter of a coach, were you nervous what would happen, win or lose, right before the holidays?
Well, as you know, when
would we have a happy Christmas?
You're not thinking the same way when you're a player, as you're not as nervous necessarily. But look, you're looking forward to it. It's the first time all year that you get 3 days away from basketball. Most players have been in school since August. It's your first time home seeing your family, not having to do anything. Maybe it's your first time to binge Netflix since the summer. So it's just something everyone's looking forward to, that 3-day break. It's great mental rest. And so there's a reason why these trap games happen and that you're seeing it across college basketball. A lot of these teams that are expected to win end up losing. So it's something to keep in mind and remember. IU starting guard Xavier Johnson is out indefinitely with a knee injury. A foot injury rather. He did post this tweet. "This is going to bring the best version out of me. Thanking everyone for their support. Zero going to be back on the court soon." How does IU adjust without Johnson in the lineup?
Well, what I love about Xavier Johnson is his toughness. Offensively, could he be a better scorer? Yes. But he brings, there's a passion, there's an energy that I think this team needs. I thought he brought it against Kerr Kriisa at Arizona. Now, the bigs obviously dominated that position in that game and that loss to Arizona in Las Vegas. But that's what I think they're going to miss. Can they make up for the production? Certainly, if Jalen Hood-Schifino stays healthy, yes. Trey Galloway has the potential to be a scorer. Tamar Bates. They've got other players at that position. They're actually kind of deep in the perimeter. But I worry about their ability to match the toughness, the grit. And Xavier Johnson, I think, really brings it. Because when they made their run to get into the tournament last year, in the Big Ten tournament, and that win over Wyoming before they lost to St. Mary's, Xavier Johnson's defense in Indy in the Big Ten tournament was one of the main reasons they were able to get that bid.
Johnson also the second leading scorer on the Hoosiers with 12 points a game. The Indiana women head into the Christmas holiday undefeated. They are now 12-0 after beating Butler Wednesday 67-50. Mackenzie Holmes led the way with 21 points. She did it all. She was 8 of 12 from the field, pulled down 7 rebounds, dished 3 assists, also had a block and a steal. Is there anything she can't do for the season? Holmes is second in the conference with scoring at 19 points a game, and that's exactly where she is right now with us. Mackenzie Holmes of the Indiana Hoosiers, first and foremost, thank you for coming on. Secondly, this has been a great season for your team so far. You have 2 starters that returned from last year. I know Grace Berger has been out indefinitely with a knee injury, but you've had so many different newcomers, including 3 transfers, yet you still have been able to find chemistry early. How?
I think it's just a testament to all the work that we put in practice. And out of practice too. We spend a lot of time together as a team in the locker room, outside of practice. We work out together. So I think it's just, that sweat equity kind of building up over time, and seeing that translate on the court has been awesome so far this season.
I think you're the first player I've ever heard use the term sweat equity, and I love it because let's talk about your own sweat equity. You've been fantastic this year so far, 19 points a game. You're second in the Big Ten right now. What has your biggest area of growth been from last year to this season?
I think it's just kind of keep building on my strengths. I feel like a big thing for me has always been working on the defensive side of the game because, that ignites our offense. So when I can be my best version of myself defensively, I feel like it just propels our offense. And then as well as, passing out of those double teams is something that I've always worked on. It's a challenge, but it's something that, we rep and we get after that in practice. So I think just focusing on, those 2 things and just keep building off of my strengths has been helpful for me.
Your head coach, Terry Morin, always has her teams playing so disciplined. Right now, your team leads the Big Ten in field goal percentage at 51%. What does she preach to you about shot selection?
I think, she preaches, make sure that we take shots in a game that we have practiced before, as well as, giving up a good shot for a great shot. So we have our assist goals for every game, and we're usually above those, which has been awesome. We're sharing the ball, we're getting great looks. So that's been working for us, just sharing the ball, a lot of motion on offense, and getting good looks.
Well, right now your team is in the top 5 in the Big Ten in assists. For you have shooters now that you can throw the ball to on the exterior. You had some players last year that could shoot, but right now you have 4 different teammates that are shooting 35% or better from beyond the arc. How nice is that for you when you get doubled that you can dish it out and know that ball has a really good shot of going in?
Yeah, it's honestly opened up the floor for us. We have Sarah and Sydney and Chloe and Yarden, all these pieces that I can throw the ball to at any time, and they're a threat from the perimeter. So it's been really fun, getting the ball to them. They look for me as well too. The inside out game has been there, so it's been a lot of fun.
Yarden Garzone is a freshman on your team who's emerged as one of the top scorers in the Big Ten amongst that freshman class. What makes her so special?
Yeah, I mean, you said it yourself. She's special. She doesn't play like a freshman. She just has this maturity and poise about her whenever she steps on the floor. She doesn't get rattled. She has a great IQ of the game. You know, she's always having her head on a swivel, looking for the next pass. And she's just extremely versatile from the perimeter, but she also has a good back to the basket game as well. So she's a dangerous player for sure.
You mentioned poise and leadership and not getting rattled, and it sounds like a lot of the adjectives you would use to describe guard Grace Berger, who's been out for about a month now with a knee injury. We're not sure when she's returning, but how have you had to step up as a leader in her absence?
Yeah, I think not just myself, but everyone else has also had to step up. Coach Morin has said it. Everyone has to do a little bit more, and I think that we've really embraced that. We have freshmen that have to learn quick, and they have to step up in ways that they might have not have expected. And I think that everyone's taken that challenge head on. And, you know, with everybody doing a little bit extra, it's caused us some success so far. So just keeping that momentum going forward, even when Grace gets back, just continuing, you know, those freshmen will be with more experience under their belt. So I think it's a good thing.
You've created a ton of momentum. Your team undefeated at 12-0. It's the best start since Terry Morin arrived on campus. How do you manage the expectations and the outside pressure when you've started out with so much success?
Yeah, I think it's just the mentality, you know. Coach Morin always says earmuffs and blinders. So nothing that the outside people are saying affects what we do day in and day out. So we're going to continue to get after it in practice. We're going to continue to, you know, prepare the way that we know how to prepare and be ready for every opponent that we see. And I think that that's just the mentality we have to have, not focusing on the past and what we have accomplished and just looking ahead game to game for the future.
Earmuffs and blinders. You're going to need earmuffs because I know right now you're at home in Maine. Can you tell us where you are right now? Is that a fax machine behind you?
Yeah. So I'm currently watching my high school team play at an away game, and my sister's fiance works at this school, and she got me into her office. So I'm currently in Scarborough, Maine, in her office. So shout out to Heather for letting me use her office for this interview. But yeah, it's nice to be able to come back and see my high school team play. Haven't seen them in a while. Haven't been able to watch them play in a couple of years. So it's exciting.
Besides hanging out in a room with a fax machine, do you have any more fun holiday plans?
Just spending time with friends and family is really all I have planned. Laying low, staying out of the cold, staying warm.
All those things, which you're going to have to do. Does Maine have snow? We have a blizzard here in Chicago coming. You got any snow in Maine right now? Is it a white Christmas?
Of course we have snow. Yeah, no, there's snow on the ground. It's a little bit icy outside though, so I hope that it gives a little more snow, because right now it's like the dirty snow that looks kind of yucky outside. So hopefully we get some nice fresh snow for Christmas.
All right, well, fingers crossed. I know you have a good chance living there in Maine. Mackenzie Holmes, thank you so much for joining us. The Hoosiers take on Michigan State on December 29th.
Thank you.
Rutgers guard Caleb McConnell's numbers over the last 2 seasons. Big improvement points per game wise. How about true shooting percentage? 52%. I like those odds, Andy.
Yeah, and he had a breakout game in arguably, I think, maybe the best game of the NCAA tournament in that late loss to Notre Dame. He really shined in that game in his hometown of Dayton.
And the best news ever is the fact that the Scarlet Knight is with us right now.
Yes.
Caleb McConnell.
Reigning Defensive Player of the Year.
From Piscataway. Thank you so much for joining us right now, Caleb. You missed the first part of the season due to injury, and now you're back and averaging 10 points a game. How have you been able to find your rhythm so early?
Man, well, for one, thanks for having me, and two, also, it's just been, obviously getting hurt wasn't in the plan for this season, but it definitely feels good being back. Really just trying to just stick to my daily routines has been helping me getting back in rhythm.
Caleb, I was there for the great win over Indiana. Then I saw the disheartening loss and the way you guys lost to Ohio State, and then it felt like you might have lost that Ohio State game twice by the way you guys played against Seton Hall. How much of a carryover was there from Ohio State to Seton Hall?
Yeah, I just think our team and some of the guys, they were kind of just stuck on that loss against Ohio State, and like you said, it kind of carried over to Seton Hall because that obviously wasn't us and just the way we wanted to play, and just coming into that game, I just think we had very, very little energy, and so I think the next game against Wake Forest, I think that was a big focus for us was just guys, let's just get back to us. As soon as we get back to playing us, we'll start winning games, and let's just come out and focus on our energy.
No, it was a tremendous win. I mean, 81-57, and more than anything in that win against Wake, you guys scored. And there were times earlier this season, certainly against Seton Hall, where that was a grinder, really hard to score. What changed from Seton Hall, not just the attitude and the effort, but offensively, what changed from Seton Hall to Wake, where the offense flowed so smoothly?
The coaches and even just in practice, they're just telling us to be aggressive. We got all the players to be a great offensive team, and really it was just playing with confidence and being aggressive. So I think that was the main thing, especially after that Seton Hall loss and the Ohio State loss. Just going into practice, we had a whole different approach at practice. Guys are doing what they do. If you're open, shoot the ball. If you're a 3-point shooter, shoot it. If you're a driver, drive it, and just play with confidence. I think that was the biggest thing for us.
Caleb, to that point, this team hangs its hat on defense. Right now, Rutgers leads the Big Ten in scoring defense. You only let up 55 points a game. You were Defensive Player of the Year a season ago. What's Coach Peichel's defensive philosophy to your team?
Man, really just playing with energy and playing in our gaps and using our length. We're a really big team. We're long. We got guys that are average, 6'8", 6'7", 6'6", and me and Cam are pretty disruptive on the defensive end. Mawat Mag, then we got a big Cliff in there as well. So this team is really good, especially when we're connected, and then it translates into the offensive side. So really defensively, Paco just wants to just play with energy and just be connected down there.
Obviously, when you get transfers, they got to fit a role. When you get newcomers, freshmen that come in, it depends how much they're going to be empowered. And it really feels like with Cam Spencer, and especially with Derek Simpson, that one has fit well, the other has been empowered to score. What have you seen on the ground there as to why both of them have been so effective?
Man, well, I love them both, man, honestly. I feel like Cam was a great addition to us. Cam Spencer has been great, and he's just a natural scorer. He just has a knack for scoring. Of course, he came from a smaller league, and then people were questionable about what he could do in the Big Ten. But I think Cam was just great for us. He came in, he's a leader, and I think the biggest thing is just he's a big-time competitor. And Derek Simpson, we all knew that he was going to be special the day he stepped on campus. It was just only a matter of time, and Derek is still learning. He's only a freshman. He's only played in 6 or how many games we're in? 10 games now, and so he's still learning. And I think Derek's going to be very, very special. He's going to have a great career here.
Speaking of stepping on campus, it is notorious, the RAC, to come and play in and try to win in because of the atmosphere that your home crowd provides. Why is it so difficult for teams to play at the RAC?
Man, the RAC has just been awesome for us, man. We love our fans here, and our fans love us here. And it's really hard for other teams to come in here and play, and which I think they know that, and I think they know, coming in, they know what kind of environment that they, like maybe they heard about or so, but once they actually start feeling it and they're like, oh snap, and especially if we're rolling on both ends, I think it makes it even harder for teams because they're just thinking like, wow, this is a crazy environment, and the RAC is not, it's not the best, arena, it's not the biggest arena, but it's definitely the most impactful.
Yeah, there aren't a lot of amenities, there's no question about that, but it is an unbelievable environment. When I was there a couple weeks ago, in the practice gym right before, Geo Baker was doing some workouts, and he's been around the program. He's doing some media, but it feels like he's certainly been present. What has his presence meant to, especially the younger guys, to still be around the program?
Right, Gio's Baker is still one of the biggest faces of this program. But just and people knowing his career that he had here, and just seeing him here, they're always asking him questions, and he's always available to our younger guys and the guys that are still here. And he still comes around a lot, and he still helps out. He's still a voice for this program, still a big face for this program. So it's always good, seeing somebody that had so much success here, still hang around here and just helping out.
Gio Baker is a player that helped lead this team to an NCAA tournament a season ago. This team is still in a prime position to potentially get to another dance. What is the potential of this team when you look at conference play down the stretch?
Man, well, of course, you guys know the Big Ten is wild, man. You got to be able to compete night in and night out. But I feel like our potential, I feel like our ceiling is so high, especially when we're making shots on the offensive end, And plus, it's college basketball. Not every team in college basketball is averaging 90 and 100 points a game. No one is scoring 30 points a game like that. So, it's college basketball. But I feel like, we have the leadership here to do it. We have the experience to do it, and we have one of the best coaches, I feel like, and also we have one of the best home court advantages, and our defense is also great this year. So I feel like all those things can carry us to another tournament win.
That sounds like a recipe for success to me. What about you?
But they got to take care of business, and he knows this. Bucknell and Coppin State first before you go to Purdue.
Yeah.
Caleb McConnell,
yes,
thank you so much for joining us today. Bucknell tomorrow on the docket for Rutgers right before Christmas.
All right, thank you guys, appreciate it.
Big Ten women's basketball has 5 teams ranked in the top 25 right now. 3rd, Ohio State. Indiana coming in at 4th. Iowa 13th. Maryland 15th. And the Michigan Wolverines rounding it out at 19th. They should go up after beating North Carolina this week. Nebraska is receiving votes. Potentially 6 teams in the top 25 as we reach into the new year. Andy Katz with us, and so is our good friend Autumn Johnson, Big Ten women's basketball analyst, joining us virtually. Autumn, the strength of the Big Ten Conference right now, absolutely insane. 5 teams in the top 25, potentially 6 at the end of the new year. What have you seen about this conference that makes it so good?
I mean, from top to bottom, just the aggressive play. I mean, the defense on full display, the offense on full display. A lot of these teams that are in the AP top 25 can check off both boxes on both ends. And that's why you see Ohio State and Indiana both undefeated, sitting at 3 and 4. When you came into this season, I mean, that could be a shock for a lot of people in the nation to even see those teams there, but they have proved they belong, just going up against the quality opponents that they've seen so far. Iowa should be in that conversation as well. They've had a few hiccups down the road, but I see them as we get into Big Ten play, making a strong push back into the top 10. Maryland has impressed many, knocking down Notre Dame. They have quality wins as well. Michigan, 11-1 record. I mean, a lot of people slept on them early this season, but I could see them potentially climbing to coming up very soon. But you can also make an argument for Nebraska as well. They started in the AP Top 25 poll at 22. They were out in week 3, but they've been showing that they belong as well. I mean, Kansas, that triple overtime game that we saw yesterday, and then they beat Maryland by 33. From top to bottom, you can just argue that this is one of the best conferences in the nation.
Autumn, even though South Carolina has clearly gone to be the team in women's college basketball with winning the national championship, it still feels like if you can knock off UConn, that it indicates that your program has taken another level. I was at the Iowa-UConn game in Portland. Great game. Iowa wasn't able to close it. With Maryland being able to do that, and Brenda Feast has had an unbelievable career, and that was one thing she hadn't done. What does that tell you about where that program is and when a program can knock off the Huskies?
I mean, Maryland, the question was, how were these pieces going to mesh? But we've seen right off the back that Diamond Miller is going to do Diamond Miller things. Cheyenne Sellers coming in as a sophomore has been incredible for this team. She's having a breakout season, and just that confidence and swag that she's playing with. Always had the toughest defensive assignments. But then also the lift that they've had beyond the arc, bringing in Princeton's Abby Myers has been huge for this team. But just doing the little things as well with Faith Masonis. But this is a solid team that can make a great push. They've had a few hiccups as well, 3 losses so far, but Maryland is a tough team, and that's just Brenda Freeze. Like, credit to her knowing how to mesh talent together. They've been great on offense and defense, but I've been very impressed with what I've seen so far. I think chemistry was going to be the question mark, and they're gelling very quickly, but that says a lot when you can knock off some quality opponents like that.
Maryland individually has enough talents to beat anybody, but it's that gelling component which makes them still beatable. So it's going to be interesting as we get into Big Ten play, how they continue to kind of iron out some of the kinks moving forward. Autumn and Andy, you two are our bracketology people in general. Y'all love to give us some data, some numbers, and we love it because in December, it's never too early to talk about bracketology. Autumn, when you look at the Big Ten, what does your bracket look like?
You're right. It's never too early for some bracketology. Coming into the season for my preseason bracket, I had 6 Big Ten teams, but now with the addition of Illinois, that strong start that they're having, it's now 7. Ohio State and Indiana sit on my 1 line. Even Iowa, they were on my 1 line. They've trailed down to 3, but they've been making great pushes. They had a huge win against Iowa State earlier this season, that in-state rival. Maryland making a push as well. Michigan and Illinois. This is a revamped program with Shauna Green, I would say, like that 11-2 start. Even when you look at some of their losses, like they're not far off by far, but I'm really impressed what I'm seeing with them. This is a solid team. They have one of the top offenses in the Big Ten, top 3 in defense. They're dangerous from 3. I love what I've been seeing from them, but I have them sitting on that 10 or even 11 line breaking in. I'm really excited to see what they can provide in Big Ten play, but overall, this has been a very solid team, and I see them making a strong case down the stretch. So we'll see what they can provide when it comes to Big Ten play.
Yeah, to that point, Autumn, and I know it's early. We still got, obviously, a couple of months to go, but you can see the difference when one hire infusing a fresh face, youth, and Shauna Green into that Illinois program and Josh Whitman going out and hiring her. What have you seen from what she's been able to do in such a short amount of time of bringing renewed energy down in Champaign?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it, some new energy. I mean, this was a squad that only brought back 5 players, but they revamped their roster with some star-studded transfers. Makira Cook has been incredible for this team. But I would say overall, like, yes, you have the talent, but it's that new identity, that culture, that swag, that new breath of fresh air that she's bringing into this program. Like, she is breathing in belief and confidence into her players. She's telling a Kendall Bostic that, hey, you can average a double-double out there. Go get it. She's telling this team that defense is going to be a priority for this team, which last year we saw them sit at that bottom half. To be top 3, I mean, that is just a credit to her for instilling that into her program. And then saying like, hey, teams can write us off. That's okay. Let's come in and show them why they shouldn't. But I think it's just that new vibe, that new standard that she's bringing into this team. And her players have bought into this. But, she knows what it takes to make an NCAA tournament. And I can definitely see them there down the stretch.
Illinois also plus 12 rebounding margin that leads the Big Ten. So when you're able to get it done on the boards, a lot of good things can happen. Speaking of good things happening, Iowa guard Caitlin Clark. 2,000 points. She's a junior, fastest player to reach it since Kelsey Mitchell did it a couple of years ago. Why has she been able to shine the way she has consistently throughout her career?
I mean, that is just incredible in itself. When I saw this news, it's just Caitlin Clark doing Caitlin Clark things. Like this tied with Elena Deladon. When I was watching ESPN and I saw she accomplished this milestone, I saw that Steph Curry was also on this list. And she's a perfect product of him. Like she's a great example of today's evolution of the game. I mean, Caitlin with that limitless range. She has that signature step back 3 she always does. She can beat you off the dribble. She doesn't stop moving. And that's exactly what we see in Steph's game. But even on off nights, what impresses me the most about her is that she keeps shooting. Like as a shooter, you're taught to keep shooting. Shooters shoot. She does not lack confidence in her shot. And that's why she's been the back-to-back leader in the nation in points. Currently, she's top 3. But Caitlin, I mean, she's just a cheat code in itself. She's so incredible on both ends, I would say. But she's a prolific scorer, and the sky is the limit for her.
And Autumn, she's appointment viewing. When Caitlin Clark is on, people want to watch her. whether they follow the men's game, the women's game, doesn't matter. As we get more into Big Ten play, can you give me one other player that people really say, okay, that player's on, I got to watch this game?
For me, it's Diamond Miller. I mean, she already put the nation on notice. She's so fun to watch. I think she's league ready, like her build, her ability on both ends. She's long. She can beat you off the dribble. She can hit you, hit the three. She can take it inside, but her length makes it so hard to guard her. And even like, for her to be in a guard position, it's hard for other guards to kind of get passes off of her because she has that long wingspan. But I mean, she has a lot of her name circling around in the WNBA conversation. We'll see where eligibility goes for her, if she wants to come back another year or not. But man, is she league ready now. And she, put up the silence to Notre Dame whenever she knocked down that buzzer beating shot. She's so fun to watch, but she's always smiling when she's playing. She brings that joy and passion. You can feel it every single game. But she, as far as like she goes, Maryland is going to go as well. So she is definitely the leader for this team, and I'm excited for her future as well.
Diamond Miller plays with so much passion. She's fun to watch. Caitlin Clark plays with passion. The women's game right now is excellent, especially in the Big Ten. It's a fantastic product. Everyone needs to tune in whenever you can on the Big Ten Network. Autumn, I'm going to put you on the spot here. If you had to choose one team to get crowned a Big Ten champion right now, so far based off of what you've seen, who's your team?
Oh, yeah, you definitely put me on the spot. If I had to pick one team, I'm going with Ohio State. And I say that because right now they're checking off all the boxes. When you look at their offense, they bring such a balanced attack. Right now they're missing JC Sheldon. I know she's week by week, but when they get her back, this is going to be a scary team, as they already are. Their defense, that 1-2-2, that 2-2-1 press has been incredible for them. They're so active. I had a chance to look at it in person when I went to the game against Louisville, and they're quick. Like, I was tired just watching them play. But JC Sheldon is their engine. Taylor Mikesell. I said it last year, when these two players gel together and find that chemistry, no one is stopping them. And that's why they're called the Splash Sisters. You can get a bucket from them every single game. I know Taylor Mikesell had a poor shooting night against South Florida, and she was able to hit a crucial bucket down the stretch. But that's just a testament that as far as these two players take them, that's how far they'll go. But you've also had elevated play from Rebecca Mikolashikova and also Taylor Theory. We saw elevated play from Cody McMahon. Like, these are players that, this is a team that has a stacked balanced offense, but then they bring it on the defensive end. So for me, when I'm looking at teams, I'm not just looking at offense. I'm looking what you can do on the defensive end too. And that's why I think they're going to be a tough team. They belong in that number 3 spot for a reason, and they're showing that.
Freshman Cody McMahon had 30 points against South Florida in that overtime win. A young star there for the Buckeyes in Columbus. Autumn Johnson, happy holidays. Thank you so much for joining us. Safe travels this holiday season, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much. Happy holidays to y'all too.